Welcome to Dream and Do, a podcast for women who are chasing their dreams, rediscovering who they are, and are ready to make changes, big or small. I'm your host, Nicola Ray Wickham. Join me for confidence pep talks, soulful insights, and practical tips on all things creativity and wellness, along with powerful conversations with women who are dreaming and doing in action. This is the stuff you're going to wish you knew years ago, but don't worry, it's not too late. Let's get started. Hey guys, and welcome to the podcast. So today, can we just talk flamingos? I know that sounds really odd, right? But those of you who follow me on social will know that I love flamingos. I just adore them. My little girl, when a flamingo comes on the TV, she gets really excited. There's a program that comes on CBeebies called Tinga Tinga. And whenever the credits roll, they get to the flamingo part, and it doesn't matter where I am in the house. She shouts, "Mummy!" And I have to come in the room and we do a little dance, and she's just so excited for me. And the reason I wanted to talk about flamingos today will become clear later on, I promise. But all I'll say is that my love of flamingos has become very much a part of my brand and the way that I show up online, and specifically the way that I show up on social media. So, how do you feel about social media? Like, really? Is it something you enjoy? Is it something you feel you have to do? Does it make you feel good? Because if it doesn't, then we need to talk. I don't believe we need to be spending all of this time in a place that makes us feel bad about ourselves. And the thing is, I know that it does. From the women that I work with and the women that I talk to, I know it's one of the biggest issues that they always bring to me. So whether you are a content creator or you're strictly a consumer of the content, you probably go from the place of loving the community and the inspiration and the creativity to just feeling hella triggered by everything that goes on there, and maybe feeling comparison that then leads you into self-doubt. Social media, and especially Instagram, triggers the hell out of us. Whether you are a creator with your project, business or venture, or you're a consumer, like I said, social media can get into our heads, and it can take the most together, intelligent, worldly woman and reduce her into a ball of insecurity, comparison, self-doubt and lack. I hear you. And I feel passionately about social media being a way for us to connect. And it's a medium that so many of us, by way of our creative projects, we need to be on there to create those connections, which, by the way, those connections are freaking beautiful. I was at an event earlier this week. Shout out to Tamu from 360. And it was the launch of her lifestyle brand. And there were so many women in the room that I have met thanks to Instagram. And every time I get to see one of them in real life, I say a little thank you to Instagram, because it's like that is the kind of good part of it. So I say need to be on these platforms rather than should, because you know how I feel about the shoulds. But we get to connect cost effectively, build relationships and share our messages so that we can move people onto our products and services, mailing lists, websites and all of that sort of thing, and share our important messages with those people that need it and want to hear it. Over the last few months, I've just heard so much about social media and how bad it makes us feel. And so I wanted to use this episode to talk to you about how to manage it maybe in a different kind of way, so that you can really thrive within it rather than just suffer within it. And yes, the flamingos are still relevant. And I also want to show you how you can use it to be more you, because that's where the magic is, being more you. And that is my mission, is to help you be more you in all of the spaces that you occupy. So First of all, let's get into some strategies you can use to manage social, especially Instagram, so rather than it managing you. You're in control of your emotions and taking responsibility for your wellness. I hate the idea of us spending all of this time on these platforms that are just sucking the lives and vibrancy out of us. Like, life is too short and too precious for that shit. So I believe in being able to manage social media and the way it makes you feel, we first of all have to acknowledge that this is a curated space, which means it's edited. And we aren't seeing everything of other people's lives. Just by recognizing that we are looking at other people's highlight reels and then going on to compare them with our behind the scenes is powerful. If you take one thing away from this podcast, it's just remembering that as you're scrolling through and seeing all of the gorgeousness, that is people's stage, and you're then sitting and comparing it to your back of house. The psychological warfare that social media can be is real, guys. Like, Instagram is designed to keep us scrolling. It never ends. You can scroll forever. Like, what else in life doesn't come to an end? And that's a specific way that they've designed it based on psychology to keep us on the platform. So we need to get control of that. And I think awareness is the first step. It's designed to feed off of FOMO by linking profiles so that we can see what our friends have done and who they've liked and what they've said. And all of that can have us sitting here, like I'm sitting here now in my dining room, surrounded by toys, a clothes horse, a goldfish, and lots of other stuff. And then I go onto Instagram and see everyone else's home looking like Elle decoration. Well, maybe not, because I follow real people, but I know that some of you certainly feel like that. If we think about a theatre production, we all know the behind the scenes, it doesn't look like how it does front and centre stage. Or I remember how when I first started work, and it was one of my first jobs, and it was in retail, in a really high-end shoe shop. And from the outside, it looked all glossy and beautiful, and I'd always walk past there and always admired it. And then I went to the interview. 16-year-old me went to that interview, and it was the first time that I'd been taken behind the scenes of the shop floor into the stock room. And I remember thinking, it's an absolute mess. And it was almost that juxtaposition of the absolute tip of the stock room and the behind the scenes and the front. And that's what we're doing. We're comparing our stock rooms with other people's glossy customer facing showrooms. So that really is strategy number one. Remembering that fact can help you to manage the impact it has on your emotional well-being. You are not comparing like for like. Some of the others wrapped around that is to just limit the amount of time that you are on there and become more conscious of that mindful scrolling. The way that they've designed their app to keep us on there, take the power back and maybe set specific times for the mindful scroll. I found that to be really useful for me. And also it makes you appreciate that time more and enjoy it more, because it's like, right, you know what, now I'm going to have half an hour of mindless scrolling. An hour sounds like a really long time, doesn't it? I'm not going to lie, it is probably an hour though. In line with that, it is to turn off your notifications. So in NLP, which is the kind of coaching that I'm trained in, we talk about something called the pattern interrupt. And the pattern interrupt is designed to stop the flow of negative thinking. So for example, if I'm talking with a client and she's getting really into all of the reasons why she can't do something, why she's not good enough, and it's just a whirlwind that is just going down and down and down, I might then just randomly say, oh, what are you having for dinner? And she's then like, oh, actually, I'm having this, and now I'm kind of experimenting with being vegan, or I'm going out for dinner. And it's completely changed around her thought process because I've just interrupted the negative thought. That's something that we do in NLP. And in a sense, social media acts as a pattern interrupt for us if we have our notifications on. So you might find yourself, just chilling, you're feeling good, you're in your house or you're out and about, and then you get that ping or you get that flash come up on your phone. Those pings of validation, you know what I mean. That ping to say someone has liked your post or followed, or pings to say that they have liked or commented someone else's post, or if it's a negative comment that comes through, whatever it is, that notification has acted as a pattern interrupt to your wellness and your well-being. So don't allow social media to be that pattern interrupter of your day, your flow, your mood, and your wellness. Also, what it does is keep us in this heightened state of anticipation, unconsciously waiting and never fully present, because we're always ready to drop what we're doing and turn to the distraction of what's going on our news feeds. And that isn't a healthy state to be in. So if you haven't already, turn the notifications off. It's kind of a bit of a game changer, to be honest. The next thing is to curate your newsfeed like you would a dinner party. Don't be afraid to hit that unfollow button. I'm sorry, but hate following, I cannot get my head around it. But that's not even what I'm talking about here. I'm saying people that you wouldn't have at your house, maybe because they make you feel bad, you just don't like them, then don't invite them into your newsfeed and into your phone. Also know it's okay to unfollow good people, because maybe you're getting triggered by somebody who's absolutely flying at the moment, or they're talking about their holiday or whatever it is. Their intention is not to make you feel bad, but for whatever reason it's having that effect on you, then again, take control. You can see that that's a running theme through this, right? Take control and hit that unfollow button. Maybe it'll be a momentary, temporary thing, maybe not, but you decide as and when. But willingly walking into and staying into that icky, horrible feeling is your responsibility. So take the control back and unfollow. It's not worth your wellness, creativity, confidence, and joy. It really is as simple as that. So it's about recognizing and feeling into the way that it feels, and that is your marker of where you should go. People who you wouldn't want into your house, don't have them on your social media feed. I think that's what we need to understand. Social media is such a big part of our lives. It's like you've invited someone to sit in your living room, to sit on your sofa with you. And in a sense, you have, because your phone is on your sofa with you, right? So practice discernment with that. And this, my last strategy on the managing social media side of things, is where it gets really interesting, because it's about having a greater sense of awareness of your triggers and looking for the gems within them. So I know this might seem odd, but I don't believe that our triggers are always bad. And there are absolute lessons across the board when it comes to triggers. And specifically, what I'm going to talk about now is how you can then use them in the way that you manage social media. So one of my previous clients had a bit of an issue with social media, and specifically Instagram. She perceived it to be really fake. She felt like there were a lot of untruths being said on there, and fakery, and kind of basically snake oil floating around, and she just did not like it. And it triggered her and really actually just pissed her off. And that was stopping her from showing up. And as we went deeper into our coaching, and I went deeper into where that was coming from, my interest being in the fact that it was stopping her from showing up and sharing her very valuable and much needed message. And as we got further and further into what she disliked about it and why she did, and those bigger reasons, it wrapped back around onto her brand message really quite beautifully. And so I asked her, how about you go and be the change? You go be the antithesis of the fakeness. Is that a word? I've just made that up. I'll say it again, the fakeness and the superficialness. I know that's a word. You see on there, and let that be part of your message. The fact that you are real, the fact that you aren't going to sugarcoat stuff, the fact that you want to talk about real world issues that are more important than the latest shoes, bag, or Gucci belt that everybody's wearing. The fact that there are children living in poverty, that inequalities are rife, and discrimination and racism is a very real thing in this country. The fact that there are real things going on in the world. And do you want to talk about it? So I reframed it and helped her to be able to use all of that stuff to talk about and on her platforms, whilst feeding into her brand message and doing good in the world and making the kind of contribution that she wants to be making. And we got to that place by identifying her triggers, by looking at what is stopping you from being able to show up. There's useful information in there, so use it. There's knowledge within our triggers. And like I said, I believe that across the board, but especially today, I can show you how it relates to social media. When you delve deeper into the triggers, there just might be some gems that you can use. And you know what? I say this, there's zero judgment. With the example that I gave from my client, that story was just to illustrate the point. If you want to talk fashion and maybe more light-hearted stuff, then all power to you. It's your message and it's about your message. And I'm just here to help you to be more you in sharing that message. And I totally recognize that this can be hard to do on your own. Sometimes because you are so close in the trigger and triggered by it, you're feeling all the feels, that it's hard to reflect upon it and see where it might come good and where it might feed into your message. I have a little something launching that addresses just that, but I'll come on to that later. But it's an exercise that I urge you to try. Like, get comfortable, get to know your triggers, see what you don't like, and see how you can be the change. So there were some strategies for being able to deal with social media and not letting it take over. There is enough in this world and in life that might be trying to pull you down, and challenges that need to be met and dealt with. So why invite another one into your space and to walk around with you through your phone? I really hope they help in allowing you to look at social media in a different kind of way and develop a detachment from it so that it's no longer controlling your emotional wellness. And now I want to go on to how to actually start using social media to be more you by showing up as your whole self. So when I say whole self, I don't mean you have to spill all the tea, right? But there might be parts you really want to talk about, but you're not, or stuff you've kept hidden because you feel it's not Instagrammable or marketable, when actually it could be the sprinkling of magic that you're missing. It's the stuff that makes you, you. A lot of people have commented that the way I do my social media is quite organic, that it feels as though I find the content in every day. And when they meet me, they get what they thought they were going to get. So they feel like they get to know me through my social. And then when they meet me, it's the same thing, because there's nothing worse, right? You feel like you know someone and then you meet them and you're like, where is that person that I thought I knew? And this way of doing things comes really naturally to me. Like, I couldn't do it any other way. But I get that this isn't the case for everyone. One of the great benefits of it is that I never run out of content, because as long as I love what I do, the passion is there, I'm living life and actually looking up from my phone screen, then the content just keeps on coming. And it all ties into my message, and therein lies the key. My message of reminding you of your greatness and how freaking amazing you are, and helping you to be more you, and supporting you to create the ideas that are in your heart and on your mind. So, the flamingos, we're back to the flamingos. They are fun, but I also get vulnerable and open. But it doesn't mean that I'm spilling all of the tea, but I'm certainly sharing. It's about identifying and threading together the things that you care about, that matter to you, that you love, that you find fun, and weaving them into the way that you show up, and ultimately what you then share and talk about. Lots of women then ask me for advice on how to do the same. Maybe they feel like they have nothing to say and are stuck for content, or they're caught up in the comparison trap, or they feel like it is just one big echo chamber that they, to be honest, don't want to be part of. I love talking on this, and it's what my new Soulful Social Media offering is all about. And it's because it's part of a wider conversation. Maybe there are stories and beliefs that they have that are causing them to think that they're not good enough to sit at the table. Maybe it's about creating what they wish existed, and ultimately it's about the real message that they want to be putting out there and what they really want to say. You get to the crux of what it is, what is real for you, and you'll never be lost for how to show up. It's like the ultimate marriage of my marketing experience and my coaching experience. It's kind of what it would look like if they were to have a baby. But oh my goodness, how weird did that sound? It's soulful marketing. It feels more natural and effortless, and it's based on genuine loves, desires, and thoughts about what is important and your message and the good and the impact that you want to make in the world. So as a content creator, you might be the person who has a message you want to get out and into the world, and you're sitting there wondering how the hell to say it. And there is content in every day, in your everyday. And this works for you and what you're doing, because the way that we're operating, it's kind of a personal brand. Even I say kind of because maybe you're sitting there going like, I don't have a personal brand. But even if you don't identify yourself with being a personal brand, it is. Whether your face is in it or not, it is all wrapped around your vision and your mission and your message, which is coming from you. And because with small businesses and ventures, what differentiates you is yourself. And so bringing you to the table, that's where your magic is. It's your competitive advantage because no one is you. So bringing your whole self is a strategy that ticks so many boxes, not only because you're not sitting there thinking, what on earth do I write? But you don't feel disingenuous. You don't have to feel like you're playing a part and being fake because you're just being yourself. But it enables you to create a brand that stands out. And it's easier. It's easier, peeps, because it's just you being you. And I have to caveat it again. When I say bringing your whole self to social media, please remember that it doesn't have to be everything. You don't have to bring all of your stuff to the table, especially if it isn't stuff that you haven't reconciled with yourself, then you certainly don't need to show it. Or if there's something you just want to hold back on. I no longer show pictures of my husband. I never really did anyway, but I took the decision really recently not to show pictures. And if I do, I kind of block out his face because he's not on social. He doesn't get it. And it's unfair of me to show him. Even going forward, I'm going to stop showing the kiddo's face. She's getting older now and I'm becoming less comfortable with it. It's me that has this brand and it's me that's doing this thing, not them. Although, to be fair, the kiddo loves having a camera pointed at her. But yeah, that's not going to happen anymore. Yet motherhood is still part of my content. It's obviously part of my everyday and I will still talk about it. I heard something this week where they talked about talking the truth, but it doesn't have to be all of the truths. And I really liked that. It's more than okay and it's self-preservation to keep stuff for yourself and your loved ones, but it's about sharing and getting more vulnerable and real on the subjects and on the themes of your content, which is something I will be going into in Soulful Social Media that you are happy to share on. Sharing the content of your everyday and you tying that into your message enables you to create a connection and you start to walk through your day through the lens of content. So over the weekend, I went to meet my love you long time girlfriends for brunch. We don't get to see each other that often because we've all kind of got lots going on, but when we meet up, it is so lovely. But even within that, I was absolutely present, but the ideas were there. So there were ideas for content in terms of the food, the friendship, having me time, our conversations. And obviously you don't have to give all the details. So-and-so said this and so-and-so is going through that, but it just sparks ideas. Even the gratitude walk that I did from the tube to the restaurant where we were meeting, the podcast that I listened to on my way. When you step back, there are ideas galore that are intrinsically you and can be absolutely tied to your message. There are threads of things that you can talk about. And then when you take it a level deeper, maybe you might want to start sharing on parts of yourself that you've wanted to keep hidden because you felt shame around it. For me, it's absolutely my birthmark is a massive part of that. If you don't know the story of my birthmark, then head to my website and I will signpost you to that. But sometimes, and I say sometimes, there isn't a prerequisite for you to share on those things. But if you do, you'll find that people identify it with it, and it creates even deeper connections, as well as it being really freeing for you. But again, that is kind of deeper inner and soul work, but that can often be kind of a spin-off from starting to do it. You can absolutely do all of this on your own, but it is easier and so helpful to have someone to help you through it. That's what I found to be true for the women I've worked with, and I know for myself as well. And that's why I'm so excited about this social media offering, because it's a way of me being able to support you through. It makes me sad, and quite frankly, I'm sick of hearing about all of these women sitting at home feeling all angsty over social media. It happens to the best of us, and I'm not saying it never happens to me at all, but I'm hyper aware of taking responsibility and taking control of my emotional wellness where I can. And if I feel that whirlwind of self-doubt start to build up, put the damn phone down and step away. So going back to flamingos, they are one of my content / brand themes. I freaking love them. They are my spirit animal, and I've built them into my content. So I will post about them every so often. They're part of my branding. My compliment slips that go out with my affirmation card and print packs have flamingos on them, and I love getting pictures of women when they show me where they've stuck the prints up on their walls. But they've also, the compliment slips, would you believe, are so pretty that they'll also stick up the compliment slips. I mean, who saves compliment slips? But mine are that awesome because they've got flamingos on them. But flamingos also have a bigger message for me. So you know those like memes that you might see, or those quote pics that you might see on Instagram, be a flamingo in a flock of pigeons. Oh, love it. Flamingos stand so majestically within themselves, yet they also love to be in a community. I just love everything they embody. And as you can see, it ties back into my wider message. I love them, I talk about them, and it's got to the point where women see them on the internet and in real life and they think of me. They send me photos and videos, they tag me, which I absolutely adore. Every time that happens, it makes me so happy. And it's a connection over and above what I do, but that's part of me bringing my whole self to the table and using it as part of my content. And then with my marketing hat on, it's creating something that's memorable about me, as well as creating a community. As people are going through their lives, going on a holiday, visiting the zoo, they see a flamingo and they think of me. That is branding and marketing done soulfully, and that's what we want for our creative businesses and projects. Because when people are thinking about you, if and when they decide they need help with what you offer, you're there. And that's what marketing is. It's letting people know what you do. It's standing for something. It's how you make people feel. I'm not here for the hard sell, do this, do that. It's about showing up as your whole self because it's better for you, your emotional wellness, which creates a more genuine and authentic brand. And it allows you to connect with people that get it. It allows you to connect with your right people, as well as be visible and making sure people know what you do and what you can do for them. And that's why I had to talk about flamingos in this episode, as it is an example of one of the ways you can take an element of something you love or something you stand for and relate it to your message. And if you don't feel like you currently have that, then I'm here to tell you that you can absolutely have it, because we all have everything we need within us. When we sit down on the Soulful Social Media sessions, these are the kind of questions I'll be asking you, as well as getting deeper on your triggers and extracting any gems from there. What do you love? It always rolls back to what lights you up and why you're doing this. And within that, we can find your content, from the light-hearted to the hard-hitting. Whatever fits your brand and your message, we will find it. I'm so excited about it because it makes life easier and it makes dealing with social media more enjoyable. And I cannot wait to help women like you to do this work. So if it sounds like your jam, if it sounds like something you need, then hit me up. All of the info is on the website. You get coaching, you get a clear idea of your message, and you get an easy to implement content creation strategy. And of course, there's a VIP option for my VIPs. So, loves, that is it for today. I can't wait to work with you on Soulful Social Media. And I really hope this episode has helped you to think about social media differently, to think about how you can bring the elements of you to it, how you never have to struggle for what to say again, how you can manage that comparison by not comparing your behind the scenes to people's front and center stage, but also how you can take the control back. Okay, loves, thank you so much for listening, and I will see you soon, probably on the gram, right? Thank you for listening. It is so appreciated. If you like what you heard, help your girl out by subscribing on iTunes and leaving a review. And I'll be picking out a reviewer each month to receive a very special affirmation card and print pack. So get over there to get yours. Sending you love and light as always, and I will see you really soon.